Hello, Democracy Defenders. This is Mr. Martirone with your AP Government Supplemental Book Guide. Now, these books are simply recommendations. They're not required. They're for students that want to take their knowledge of government and politics to the next level and maybe have a little bit more depth to their understanding. So let's take a look. So the first books I'm going to recommend are pretty easy to read, and they're for students that have a limited or developing knowledge of government and politics. The first book, It's All About You, actually nicely complements the AP curriculum and goes over and provides definitions for a lot of the things we're going to discuss in class. Painless American Government also is a good primer to just kind of recap and give you a little bit of foundational material. It also coincides nicely with the textbook. You could possibly use both of these as prep books or supplemental study guides. Again, they're easy. They're not going to give you a whole lot of depth about policy or politics, but it's a good starting point. For students who have an intermediate level of knowledge about government and politics or want to further their understanding of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, there's 4 books that I'm going to recommend. The Words We Live By and the Bill of Rights are both written by author Linda Monk. She's a professor. She's a law professor. She's on Twitter, and The Words We Live By is a great resource for doing your summer homework with the packet that goes with the Constitution, if you're looking for a little bit of extra help there. Additionally, Kim Wheely has written a fantastic book on how to read the Constitution and why, and she literally breaks down every clause of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. She also has written another book, What You Need to Know About Voting and Why. Again, she breaks down all the arguments that can be made for voting and voting rights in there. All 4 books are great reads. I have all 4 copies, and they're all annotated. And they really help my understanding of government and politics out quite a bit. So again, if you are interested in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, which is really the backbone of our class, I would recommend getting one of these 4. I would definitely recommend getting The Words We Live By and maybe How to Read the Constitution and Why. Additionally, I provided the Twitter handle for Linda Monk and Kim Wheely. If you are on Twitter and you're reading these books and you have any questions, or maybe you're doing your summer work and you have questions, feel free to tweet at them. They're both law professors and they're pretty active on Twitter. I have tweeted at both of them from time to time, asking them questions about their books or constitutional questions that I've had, or recommendations for how to teach a concept to my students, and they've been very good about messaging me back or tweeting back at me some sort of resource. So they are pretty helpful and active on Twitter, so feel free to follow them as we study the Constitution. Some other resources that will help your understanding of AP Government and Politics include AP Government flashcards, an AP Government prep book from whichever publisher you find desirable. I would also recommend downloading the Constitution Center's Interactive Constitution. This is helpful for your summer assignment, and this is going to be helpful throughout the course of the year because the Constitution Center has annotated the entire Constitution on an app, and you can look up different clauses and different sections, their interpretations and different arguments and Supreme Court cases that go along with the different articles. It's really a powerful resource to have right at your fingertips, so I'd recommend downloading that. The other book I would recommend is from AMSCO Publishing, the United States Government and Politics book by David Wolford. The school will be providing you with this book. It's one of your 2 textbooks. However, if you are someone that likes to annotate, highlight a textbook, I would recommend purchasing your own copy for $19.99 from Amazon. But many students refer to the AMSCO book as the holy grail of AP Government and Politics. And finally, I have book recommendations for the political junkie. These are 3 books for students that can't get enough of politics, they're curious about learning more, they're moving beyond the textbook. So these are the 3 books I'm going to recommend. Who Thought This Was a Good Idea by Alyssa Mastromonaco. It's an easy read because it's truthful, it's relatable, and quite honestly, it's funny. It's a truthful depiction of what it's like to work inside the White House. Alyssa Mastromonaco was the first woman to hold the title of Deputy Chief of Staff. She worked for Senator Kerry, then Senator Obama, and then President Obama. So this memoir kind of details her career through there in a very interesting and poignant way. Again, an easy, funny read. It's very down to earth, and I think a lot of students have found it very relatable in the past. The next book is All Too Human by George Stephanopoulos. This book chronicles young George Stephanopoulos' time with then Governor Clinton running in 1992, and then all through Bill Clinton's turbulent first term as president. And then finally, David Gergen is a professor at Harvard University, but before he was a professor, he's had a long and distinguished career working for presidents from Nixon all the way up to Bill Clinton. He was a special advisor to Ronald Reagan and really offers a depth and breadth of insight into the American presidency. So if you're interested in learning more about what it's like to work in the executive branch or for the president, these are three excellent memoirs that I would consider checking out.